I'm always the one I call it, the ambassador of consumers and the customers. I'm the one in these rounds who always ask these very inconvenient questions. I'm doing the same today. Because I love to challenge everything, and when we speak about the business model dilemma, yeah, the automotive market players need to understand that there are two major success drivers in connected mobility, which are huge barriers, as I see by today. The first one is the entire macro dimension described by Menand and Serdar. Just underline the thoughts. The services automakers, auto market players are providing to the market make always the customers the ones to pay for the service. That is the first thing which I think we need to understand and we need to challenge, because why is that, and what is the real barrier to understand for the industry and for service providers to understand that there are two cases of services, how customers pay for the services. And the first one is, yes, that's what we all believe. Just take out your wallet and pay the money. Yeah. And the second one is, but there are also services where we need to understand when we design services where customers and consumers pay by their data. Yeah? So this is the first problem what I see, that we only see today paying by money. Yeah, but if people share the data, they pay by sharing their data to get this kind of service, and we need to understand and we need to design on that. The second thing is, whatever I have seen so far, whether it is in Europe, whether it is in the US or Asia, or in other countries, most industries, especially traditional industries, lost the connection to its most valuable asset, which is the customer. And there is some nice buzzwords. The most famous one is customer centricity. But what I just mean, we lost the connection to the customer. And when there is some stuff, maybe I can share my screen, because I'm not this one who just makes this kind of dialogues. I have some stuff on my computer that I want to share. It works. Let me see. I will share some stuff with you, which is, do you see my screen here? Egemen, Menon, can you tell me whether you see my horn on the screen?
It's not fun on the screen. We see some fun on the screen.
All right. I'm just sharing some of the stuff which explains. Huh? Okay. It might look a bit weird, but it makes sense at the end of the day. You will see. Yeah. The thing what I'm speaking about when I'm speaking about this barriers which the industry needs to overcome is, the first thing is, I'm driving a car and my car has connected mobility services which I can use on the phone. Yeah. So I will tell you two little stories about that, because I'm challenging always and asking myself, why don't I use it? Yeah, because there is one thing. You see this little horn on my mobility app. There is a little function which lets me control and press the horn when I'm not in the car, when I'm away from the car. And that is a feature which I really love, because very often I love to do weird things, and this is one of them. Yeah, because when friends are standing around of my car, I just press the horn and look what happens then. Yeah, that is fun. I'm using that kind of fun factor in my connected mobility services. You might say, yes, this guy is weird, but it's me, yeah, and the car industry is designing that services for me. The next one is, I want to drive something. I want to get navigation to my head unit to drive somewhere. The thing what I need to do by today is just what I normally do. What I usually do, I punch it in on Google Maps and I see where the location is. Then I need to transfer it to my car somewhere. So I copy a link from Google Maps to my connected mobility app. In my connected mobility app, I need to push the button, send it to my car. Then when I'm in the car, I need to go to the menu, to my services to retrieve my messages. Then I see the message with the location, and then I need to press start navigation. what is this? Yeah, this is not convenience. Why the hell should I do that? Yeah, these are just one extreme examples. The horn, which addresses me, and the navigation, which is fully redundant, that kind of service, because it's not convenient at all. Yeah. So, and there are, I'm just sharing two examples. There are two reasons from my point of view why these things happen. The first thing is it comes from neuroscience. Yeah, the first reason why services are, from my point of view, not designed right, we just can link back since industries and we don't decode how the people tick in the right way. Therefore, we use science, and on this ellipse-shaped thingy, you see the representation of the human brain, because neuroscience has shown us that any decision of a human is at the end of the day an emotional decision. Yeah, and emotional decisions are driven by three hormones, which is in the left upper corner, the dopamine, which creates the stimulants in our body. Yeah, on the right upper side there is the dominance side, which is the testosterone, which is about the kind of victory thing, and in the southern hemisphere we have the cortisol, which gives us the balance and the safety. Yeah, if you decode people and their brain, the limbic system, which is called here, you have different parameters, and I have made some circles around different human motives and values in black. On the right-hand side, you see functionality, order, logic, discipline. That's a huge arena where connected mobility services are being addressed in. The second one is down there at balance. It's safety and security. Yeah, am I safe? Something happened or whatever. The two black circled areas consists the areas of the people's brains where most, I would say 90% of the connected mobility services are designed in. And I'm always asking, if we look at people, especially when we're looking in people in markets like Turkey, for example, you have the left side, there is a lot of curiosity in there, which is about easiness, individualism, creativity, and excuse me, on the right-hand side, you have attributes like fame, status, especially when it's about the car industry. It's about, yes, I achieved it, I have a kind of status, and I want to show something. And almost none of the services are designed into that kind of arena. So I have brought you the examples of the horn, which is on the left upper hand side. The service, that's the only service which is going up there. So decode the people, try to understand how the brain works and what the people value and how they make the decisions, and design the services from there. That is the people. The second thing is the working mode of companies. Excuse me. When it's about developing connected mobility services, when we look at the arena, which is out there, there are four working modes. Let me begin on the most common one, on the left-hand side, the left triangle. It's always divided in features and the value it gives to the people. Yeah, the left one we call the terrible working mode. Yeah, this is where most of the companies, or the engineering-driven companies, are in. They're asking them in this working mode, which features can I build? Which kind of data get out of this hardware? Which kind of data can I design there? Which kind of service can I build? That's what we call the terrible working mode. When we go shift a little bit right, a little bit value comes into that. That's the bad mode. Yeah, the bad mode describes companies. They are asking themselves, what are the minimum features to provide at least some value? So it gets a bit better. Then we go to the third stage, the OK mode. Yeah, a company is in that mode when it comes to asking themselves, what version of my product can I build that captures most of the value? You see the gray area, there comes a bit more value in. But in this time, for this services one want to design, we need to get into the real MVP mode, what we always call, because you're in the right stage, and what we need to do is from the beginning ask ourselves, how can I validate my value proposition in a fastest way? Yeah, and that's what we call the MVP mode, the minimal viable products. How can we go as fast as possible to the market outside and to check whether this product really delivers the value it proposes to the consumers? So we always say from left to the right, and unfortunately, many companies are just on the left-hand side. There is the one last thing about that one. You know, I'm very enthusiastic about it. My other co-speakers might kill me in a minute, but I love it. Yeah, This toothbrush picture shows one thing. In connected mobility services, we always think about how can we change the habit to a better way to the consumers, yeah? And to change the habit of people, there is only two ways that me and all of you and the people outside change a habit. Either, first choice, it's something radically new, which was not existing before. Then I will change my habit. Second thing is, hey guys, you make it 10 times better than anything what I'm using by today. Not only one or a little bit better, 10 times. Only two choices. Either you bring something radically new or you make it 10 times better. Otherwise, I will not change my habits. Full stop. The second thing is we need to ask ourselves, like Larry Page, co-founder of Google, always did it. Ask yourself, is this something people use once or twice a day? And does it solve a problem? That's the basic question we need to ask ourselves. Do we really address a problem? And can we even make the people use it more than once a day? Then it's a real service, yeah? So changing habits, and can I use it more than once a day? And do I solve a problem? That's the points I wanted to give to you. So that's the thing, how I see the situation. Thank you for giving me a little time than expected. So I will be hopefully shorter in the next question.
Thank you, Martin. I think we can all agree that we engineers like to be product oriented rather than customer oriented. Now, Serdar, this actually directly affects you. While Martin was pledging to disrupt existing business models, we see that there is no standard business model established yet in no industry, by the way. Can you shed some light, since it is easier said than done, what type of customer value is created with connected services, and what are the different customer use cases that are enabled today by your technology?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not an engineer, so probably it's a set for now, at least for today's panel. I think I would like to second Martin first. So, also coming from sales and marketing, having a continuous relationship with the customer and being able to access customer data while the customer is using the product, at least to me, it means enormous value. So just think about an OEM car manufacturer, and as soon as the customer is driving the car out of the dealer showroom, you lose the connection. Versus through a connected service, you keep the connection, you continue to know what customer is doing with the product, and based on this additional data, you can come up with some indirect benefits to your company by providing direct benefits, new values to your customer. So I've seen many remarks on many reports stating that connectivity services, it's not clear yet how the OEMs, car manufacturers, will be able to sell them and make money on them. At least from my perspective, this is kind of a limited vision. I mean, by selling the connectivity services, by looking at the P&L of the connectivity, profit loss of the connectivity services, you can miss a big opportunity. And this big opportunity is an ongoing relationship with the customer. I think that's what I really would like to emphasize from my side. Now, coming back to Comodif, as I tried to say in the first answer, I would like to go into it a bit of the Comodif value proposition. So our technology starts with the vehicle and the device in the vehicle. It continues with the platform, the technological platform, which collects the data and transfers this data to the end user applications. And then it ends with the backend of the end user applications that the customer is deploying to different use cases. So we have the engine, we have the technological platform, which enables data collection and transfer from the vehicle up to the customer's solution to their customer. It could be a consumer for our customers, or it could be a business customer. So when I look at the business or use cases from our perspective, we see the following. First of all, one clear use case is smart car management for individuals. That's obvious. The other use case that we see is fleet management solutions for SMBs and enterprises. That's another use case. One potential use case, because there is no solid value proposition yet, we are working with some other startups and scale-ups on it, is predictive maintenance, both for car manufacturers and maintenance workshops and chains. That's another use case. And last but not least, of course, there's the car sharing solutions which can be deployed by different players in the marketplace. That's also another use case that we see in the market, which we are either enabling as Comodif or we see the potential to enable from our perspective. When I come to the one sentence customer value in each of them, if you look at the smart car management, I think the value is obvious. It's a better mobility experience and a brand experience from the consumer perspective, provided by the car manufacturer, provided by the brand. If you look at fleet management, I think the value is cost optimization for SMBs and enterprise customers, and maybe a simplified, less complex job for their fleet management roles. If you look at, by the way, I forgot one other use case, which is usage-based pricing for insurance companies. And you look at this use case, for example, it enables insurance companies to price insurance based on the driver behavior, not on the type of vehicle, which can mean two things. It means better prices for better optimized profiles, and it means higher penetration, because by the help of this, they can sell more insurance to their customers. When it comes to predictive maintenance, I think the value is obvious. If you can provide proactive solutions to the problems before they really occur, it's a better customer experience and it's optimized costs. And then last but not least, for the car sharing solutions for individuals and businesses, if you can enable such a use case and take it to the market, it means a more agile, on-demand, more cost-effective transportation solution, both for individuals and businesses. So from where we stand, we have to admit that this sub-industry, in a sense, or this new digital sub-segment is just flourishing. There are use cases that we see today. There are use cases that we already empowered, like smart car management with Turkcell and Tofaş Fiyat in Turkey, or fleet management again with Turkcell and Tofaş Fiyat in Turkey. And there are some other use cases that we work on, and we believe that we will enable such use cases soon also, both in Turkish marketplace and also in EMEA. That's what I would say from my side. Again, thank you. I believe we cannot hear you now.
Serdar, as I said at the beginning, we are not talking about how automotive sector is changing, but how connected cars is changing all other sectors actually. So, well, this brings us back to you, Menand. Let's talk about connected mobility. It is one of the 4 key drivers you listed and we talked about before, which are fueling digital transformation in the automotive industry. Why don't you tell us how Adva sees connected mobility?
Yeah, well, I can, but there was an echo that I was hearing you like twice. Is this the case at my end, or did the other speakers also hear you twice?
I think I have the problem.
Same with me.
Okay. Okay. For the comfort of our speakers, maybe we can just ask them if they are hearing our voice with an echo. They can just put it in the notes section, in the questions section, so that we are aware of it. Can one of our participants assure whether there is an echo or not? For the sake of the quality of the webinar, I just want to make it sure. If one of our participants just feedback us whether there is an echo or not, that would be much appreciated.
Voice
and again,
is somehow makes the echo here. I have the problem.
Okay. Okay. Unlike Serdar, I am an engineer, so I like to speak with numbers, and let's start with numbers. And the question, as far as I have understood, was like you said, connected is one of the key 4 drivers of one of the drivers which was fueling digital transformation, and you wanted to learn how Adva sees connected mobility, right? Okay, so I'll be trying to answer that question. When I said numbers, okay, let's start with numbers. We all know that there are around like 65 million cars being sold every year and the number is not that much promising in terms of growth, except China. All the other big automotive markets are not growing, and China is only growing as far as we know. And 70% of the cars that are being sold, for example, in Europe, are connected. So when it comes to answering some questions about connectivity and connected mobility, we have pretty well sample set to direct our questions. And when we go over the research data, we see that around 60% of the people know that their car data is being shared with the brands. And when you ask them what does technology stand for in their car, more than 60% have said that it stands for safety, and less than 50% said that it stands for fun. So, although Martin was reflecting his own experience as a user, that is also backed up with research data. So, people do not perceive technology as a fun factor, but rather it is perceived as kind of a safety factor. But we all love the technology in our pockets, or we love the technology at our home, and we believe that it brings fun. But the technology in the cars is perceived by the customers as a factor of safety, not as fun. So this is a message for the brands. Another information, a research data, is about the reason of collecting data. And a very recent research has revealed that uh, around 30% of the people believe that the car data is used by the brands for product improvement and research and development. More than 30% of the consumers say, my car data is used for research and development. Another 30% said it is just used for sales and advertising. 50% of the respondents said it is used for maintenance. Around again, like 15% said it is for driver type profiling. And now just hold on, only 2% have said it is used for uplifting customer experience. So uh, that is kind of a point that needs to be handled with care. And just 2% was, frankly speaking, below my expectation. Just 2% of the customers say that the data that I share with the brands is being used for uplifting the customer experience by the brands, which is not that promising. And we, as the brand side or the service providers, really need to pave the way and take some distance in terms of uplifting customer experience and using the data in a clever way. And there is one more number that I want to share. It is about like how well we know our customers. We are also limited as the automotive brands at the brand side. Before 2000, less than 50% of the cars were being purchased by businesses, but by today, more than 70% of the cars are being registered for companies. I mean, like companies, it's not companies just for like corporate fleet cars. It is companies which are renting it, which are leasing it, which are giving shared car services, ride-hailing, subscription services. So there is a thread. What is this thread? We at Adbaz group this thread under three pillars. One is automotive industry, regardless whether they are OEM or importers, they are losing their direct touch to the customers. Second, interface to the customers started to get owned by newcomers, like I have listed, like leasing companies, operational leasing companies, renting, shared services, ride-hailing, subscription. And the third one, which I have been mentioning in the beginning of my talk, is like the weak customer perception about connected mobility. People do not see value add, which is brought by the brands to them, because only 2% said that it is used for customer experience. So, but there is still hope. 70% of the people say value added solutions will draw their interest, and 50% say they will be open to share their data in exchange of value added solutions. So, connected mobility is the solution for this, which is in fact like a win win in this game for bilateral benefits, both for the customers and the brands. Customers have the chance to enrich their experiences, to have a better life with the value added solutions offered by connected mobility. And in exchange, like Serdar has listed, brands have the advantage for generating valuable data for predictive marketing and demand planning. Second, creating higher brand engagement. And third, decreasing the cost of customer activation. And if possible, some ancillary revenues that can be put on top. So what does all these tell us? We need to think over and beyond. Connected mobility is about transformation of the car to a data object, which we all agree. And the second most important thing is it is some kind of a journey from customer need to a service rather than a technological feature to a service. So we should see it as kind of an customer experience initiative. I mean, like we need to see connected mobility rather as a customer experience initiative by putting literally the customers into the center rather than taking it as a core IT or an engineering project. That's why I would call this initiative as kind of a marketing engineering
Establishment of market participants in the auto industry
I'm
have
done.
lost track on their customers' needs. That's quite something. But still, you say there is hope for them, for the OEMs, importers, and retailers to turn connected mobility into a success by marketing and engineering initiatives,
There is.
and having the customer literally in the center of their value chain. So another question to you. So how does it work then? Do you have the insights to share with our audience based on your expertise, and explain what are the key steps to make it right and the cutting edge?
Uh, so Martin and Serdar will get angry since you are always giving me the opportunity to speak. Okay, but I know what you are after. Uh, it is simpler than one would think, by the way, but it needs courage and also executive sponsorship for full commitment. Why? Because this is a multi-stakeholder journey which is involving a number of parties in the corporation, in the brand side, and also in the ecosystem as well. So as a member of a team which has been serving to automotive and mobility brands in Turkey, in Germany, and also beyond, for their different strategic projects, so to say, I might come up with some recommendations. In the projects that we have been getting our hands dirty with, I think the basic differentiation is in our approach, and I believe in the approach. Many of similar connected mobility initiatives, as far as I see, are starting with scanning available solutions out there in the market, listing the available technologies and platforms that they can use. We don't believe in this. So rather than starting with solutions, available technologies, if we talk about customers and if we really believe that this is done for customers, we need to engineer the product by starting from the customers. And we at ADBA, we generally try to bring the voice of the user, the customer, into every conversation. So we believe that the best research and development is done by talking with the customers. So by talking with the customers, let me also give a bit more information about it. Talking with the customers does not mean like going to them and asking them what they want, because they are not the ones who are supposed to know and to define it. They are or they are not in the shoes to define and ready to go solution, a product feature set. It is the job of the brand to decode it. So what I mean by talking with the customers is kind of a moderated talk, like a lab session and so, and also real life observation, going there out in the market, observing. So this is all helpful for generating insights. All these insights are gathered. After gathering them, we try to decode important situations and moments in time that the target user is encountering during their daily routine with their cars, in the car and away from the car, which is in fact the context. And for each and every context that has been identified, the needs, the arising needs that pop up in that situation and moment in time should be mapped out as well. That is, in fact, the use cases. Once these use cases are mapped out, they need to be somehow prioritized, because trying to come up with a connected mobility solution for each and every contextual need or a use case is not feasible at all. So you need to come up with some relevance criteria set in order to be able to shortlist the translated use cases. The relevance criteria set changes from brand to brand. So if you ask me, Egemen, what is this? I cannot answer it by heart, like saying like, this is this. No, it changes from brand to brand, and it needs to be tuned with regards to the value proposition of the connected mobility initiative of that brand. You first need to identify what does this connected mobility of our brand stands for, and you need to define the core values around it, which is in fact a guideline in terms of which use cases to prioritize. And then you can focus on, like, will I be prioritizing the owner, the user of the car, or people who are supposed to help the user? Will I be concentrating on in the car moments, away from the car, whatever it is? But you first need to identify your value proposition for your connected mobility solution and the core values around it. Then you can filter out the use cases that you came up with. Once these prioritized use cases are defined and like listed, then solutions, developing the solutions is much easier, because you know where to concentrate on. And by bringing the forces together with the brand side, because there is so much expertise at the brands, we enter into solution design process by taking into account some limitations, for sure, because limitations also trigger creativity. The limitations in terms of data, limitations in terms of technology, and regulations. And throughout this journey, although we start with the customer, we also try to incorporate the findings at the business units, the market, and the competition as well. At the very end, once the solutions are designed, we never recommend brands